What if I were to tell you that I found proof that Tupac was signed to Bad Boy Records, Diddy's label? Well, I did find proof of this, so let's get into it. So by now, everyone in the whole entire world has heard about the infamous East Coast, West Coast rap beef battle or whatever between Biggie and Tupac, and more generally between Death Row Records, which was Suge Knight's label, and Bad Boy, which was Diddy's. And by now, everyone knows that Biggie was the premier #1 selling rap artist for Bad Boy, and Tupac was the premier #1 selling artist for Death Row. Pretty much all y'all also know that the former CEO of Death Row Records and one of the founders, Suge Knight, is currently serving a prison sentence, and he does have a jail podcast, which I do listen to from time to time. And ever since those raids on Diddy's houses, the 3 houses back in March, people have really been looking into the unfortunate and tragic passing of both Biggie and Tupac. Well, come to find out, neither one of those is actually solved. Both of them remain unsolved. Nobody exactly really knows, at least as far as the public is concerned, who is responsible specifically for the deaths of these 2 men. Some people think that it was some type of gang activity with the Bloods and the Crips. Some people think that it was just contract things where you hire a HITMAN, certain things we can't say over here. And actually Tupac's unaliving is currently under investigation in the form of a prosecution.
More on the arrest of a suspect in the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur, whose killing went unsolved for nearly 3 decades. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee on what we're learning about the case.
This morning, new questions about why it took authorities 27 years to arrest 60-year-old Dwayne Keith Davis for the murder of Tupac Shakur. Overnight, we spoke to the former investigator who worked on both the Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G.'s case, who says Davis set himself up.
He was under what we call the proffer agreement back in 2009 on his initial confession. And that agreement states that we can't use the information in that interview against him.
After being questioned in 2009, Davis gave multiple interviews and wrote a tell-all memoir detailing specifics about the night of the murder, including this one to BET.
You said the shots came from the back. Who shot Tupac?
To keep it from the cold of the streets. It just came from the backseat, bro.
It was those public comments that reinvigorated the case.
They did finally charge someone in Tupac's unaliving. It's Keefe D, last name Davis, and that set me out on a rabbit hole. Y'all, I have been literally eyebrow deep in the FBI files for both Biggie and Tupac's unalivings. I've also been deep in the FBI files for the Black Mafia family, the Black Mafia, the Black Muslims, and that doesn't mean Black people who are Muslims. That's like capital B, capital M. That's a designation that's been given to them by the FBI and the CIA. So I am not making this up. But that's not really the point of today's video, because I do need to find a little bit more evidence. But anyway, I've just been learning about the different crime families. I've been learning about Frank Lucas. I've been learning about Melvin Combs and how he was a so-called alleged supposed hustler. I've been deep in the FBI files. And not only have I been in the FBI files, I've also been listening to a lot of these Art of Dialogue interviews, the Vlad TV, DJ Vlad interviews, and kind of trying to piece together what I think might have actually happened in the 2 separate deaths. Now, many people do believe that the Biggie unaliving was in reaction or retaliation for the Tupac unaliving, which did only happen about 6 months prior. So within 6 months, both these men are unalive. And according to some of these interviews, a lot of the beef, this rap beef, did come down to the 2 labels, which would have been Suge Knight and Diddy at the time, kind of promoting and encouraging this beef. I mean, we saw my last video that I made, the Ultimate Diddy video or whatever. We did see that Diddy said at least 2 million of the 5 million in sales for the I'll Be Missing You song, at least 2 of the $5 million in sales, Diddy has said in interviews, came directly from the fact that Biggie died. So Suge Knight, Diddy, and as a result, the larger labels who they did have distribution deals with and stuff like that. Like I think with Diddy, it was still Uptown, or maybe it was with Arista at this point. But there was money. There was money in the beef. There was money in the beef. I mean, just yesterday, I think Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us, just now yesterday hit the highest selling, highest streamed rap song of all time or something. I don't know. I'll put the statistic up right here. But there's money in rap beef. Okay. Can we all agree there's money in the rap beef? Okay. We all agree. Great. Okay. So back back in like, I don't know, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, something, 2011, the FBI released a bunch of files, made them public in the Biggie situation. And yesterday I spent a long time going through those files, like I said. Well, I found something in these files that very aggressively disagreed with the common public knowledge. And I need to tell y'all about it because I don't know which one is true. I just want to start out by saying I don't know which one is true, but I have found a very huge discrepancy and I think it's very important and y'all need to know about it ASAP. Now, like I just spent 5 minutes explaining, Tupac was signed to Death Row Records, right? Death Row Records, Suge Knight, huge rival to Bad Boy Records, right? Yo, bitch, in the clique you claim. And this record label beef really did not only make a lot of money for people, but it absolutely shaped the culture. The fact that there was an East Coast versus West Coast, it really shaped the culture and it made it to where a group of individuals who otherwise would have been standing in solidarity with each other turned into mortal enemies. And I literally mean mortal. So instead of people saying, look, we come from similar backgrounds, who cares about the coast? We both are artists, who cares about the label? They leaned into it. And I've even read stuff before, like yesterday it was in my video where Biggie didn't really even care that much about the beef, especially after Tupac had passed. He was very upset. And it's pretty much now common knowledge, although some people don't know this, that Tupac and Biggie were friends. They started out in their careers together. So if you go and listen to some of these interviews, or if you just simply type it into the Google as a question, you will generally get the answer that Tupac was never signed to Bad Boy. Let me show you what I mean. So as you can see up here in the search bar, I did just type, was Tupac signed to Bad Boy? That would mean, was Tupac signed to Diddy's label? And look what we get here. He considered signing with them. He originally wanted to sign with Diddy, according to his brother, but he ultimately chose to work with Death Row. And again, they keep citing this brother. See what I mean? Signing with Bad Boy Records. That's his name is, I don't know how to say it, Mopreme, I guess. Look, originally considered, and this all kind of just came out considering, right? This all just kind of came out last year at the end of the year because Tupac's still alive brother did an interview saying just as much. So I'm going to let y'all listen to it from the brother's mouth right here.
For the record, we were cool with them at one point. We were cool
So he's saying he and Tupac and them were cool with Diddy and Bad Boy.
with them at one point. There was a point where Pac was even considering going to Bad Boy before his relationship with Death Row. He's considering going to Bad Boy because he wanted to be on a black label. He wanted to be with his people. He wanted to be with the brothers.
I don't really understand this reasoning because, I mean, I'm not a geneticist, but it looks and appears to me that Diddy is also black and he owned the label. And also the co-founder, Burroughs, whatever his first name was, I don't remember. He was black too. So I don't really understand this. He wanted to be with a black label stuff unless the implication is that at this point, Clive Davis was somehow involved and they didn't want Clive Davis to be having authority. Maybe some of y'all know this story better than me, can comment down below and let me know what this means. Like, in what way was Bad Boy not a black label?
You know what I mean? He supported black business. So there was a period where we were all cool. And over time, you know,
so far, that's common knowledge. Maybe not that he was considering signing to Bad Boy, but so far, I think that is pretty much common knowledge that Biggie, Tupac, Diddy, all the rest of the entourages, they used to be cool and they used to be friends and they used to be inspired by each other and stuff. I think that's common knowledge. Let's listen further.
things happened. Pac started seeing things, and
I wonder if the things he saw was the freak offs girl. I mean, I don't know.
you know, Biggie was on Puffy's label. So them two, it was Puffy calling the shots.
Right. That's another thing too that I found, and that one just kind of blipped right under the radar. Maybe in the editing of this, I will go back and find it. But I did find in the newspaper archives some evidence that actually it started out as Biggie was Diddy's manager and not the other way around. So Friday, July 25th, 1997, from the Carroll County Times, Puffy Combs making tracks. At this point in time, Biggie and Tupac are both unalive. They're no longer with us. No Way Out by Puff Daddy and the family. Who's the family, girl? They're always talking about the family. I think it's another word for a cult. I really do. It's always the family. They're always talking about the family. They're always talking about the family. Always with a capital F. He was down in Los Angeles in March, but his presence continues to be felt. He was Puff Daddy's manager and executive producer of No Way Out, and he appears on 4 of the album's tracks. That's what it says right here, USA Today. It's a syndicated article that they put in other newspapers. He was Puff Daddy's manager? Well, now, I don't know. Again, I don't know any of this stuff when it contradicts which side is true. I'm not saying one side's true, one side's not. One of my big things is just reporting to y'all when stuff don't agree, when there's a discrepancy. And this is the point of this video is there's a huge discrepancy in the public record between what people who were actually there are saying and between what's in these FBI files. I'm gonna get to that.
There was some legitimate problems there, but
Speaking of Puffy and Biggie, what was the issue between Pac and Big Stretch?
So that was pretty much what I wanted to show y'all about from the brother's mouth himself. We used to be cool with Bad Boy. We used to be cool with Diddy and them. But Tupac, he saw how things were going. He saw that he wasn't going to really be able to call the shots or whatever. And so for that reason, and also because he wanted to support a black business or something, he went with Suge Knight over at Death Row. Okay, cute, cool. Let me pull these files up. So what you are looking at here is the vault.fbi.gov, and this is the Biggie Smalls Christopher Wallace files. This is the vault for that. It does come in 3 parts because it is so voluminous, and this is part 1. Okay, you don't have to scroll far to see what I'm talking about. And these were released, like I said, over 10 years ago. So this is from 2002. You see this front page here. And y'all leave it in the comments down below if y'all want me to just do like a really long live stream where I'm reading through these files, because not only is there one for Biggie, there is a file as well for Tupac, and there's also files for the Black Mafia family. There's files for the Detroit one, the Philly one. There's files for how they overlap and how they have merged together with the quote unquote Black Muslims, which is not saying Muslim people who are Black. It is a different designation. It's kind of like the nomenclature for the different kind of more militant groups that are sort of hiding behind religion. This is not people that are like legitimate practicing Muslims. Some of them might even be. I'm talking about what I found in the FBI and the CIA files. I'm not talking about Black people who practice Islam. That ain't what I'm saying. It's a specific designation from the FBI. Okay, so we're on the first page here. And it just says, you know, just to give y'all a little bit of a gist, it's like, what is the synopsis here? Request that caption matter be opened as a full field investigation and be assigned a Los Angeles case file number. It is requested that Special Agent Redacted be assigned case agent. Okay, so what are they looking into? This is from 2002. So this is like 8 years after Biggie passed away. They're finally opening up an investigation. That's kind of strange. But this is the FBI, right? See up at the top, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Okay. And then what does it say? Title, MURDER victim, aka Notorious B.I.G. civil rights violations. And it says details. On March 9th, 1997, Christopher Wallace, aka Biggie, was unalived as he left the Peterson Automotive Museum in LA after attending a post-music awards ceremony. Biggie was in the middle car of a 3-car caravan when a dark Chevy SS Impala pulled next to him and fired several times into the passenger area where Biggie was sitting. He died minutes later at the local hospital. Several sources have identified the shooter as a light-skinned Black male wearing a suit and bow tie. And they redact a lot of stuff. This stuff is redacted. I didn't redact it. It's just, that's how it comes. I will leave the link below. If y'all want to go dig around through these files, I'll leave the link below if I remember, but also you can just type it in. Type in Biggie files, FBI vault, and it'll come right up. So there's a bunch of stuff redacted and says has been identified by several sources as being the trigger man. It's also been noted by several sources that redacted. I don't know what this is. Other LAPD officers attended this party and were seen with redacted just prior to the Redacted is a registered owner of a 1995 black SS Impala with chrome wheels. Exact description. Okay. So basically they're kind of like, I don't know why this is all redacted like this. They really need to let us know, because honestly, if the FBI is not going to do their job, I know that we out here on the internet can actually get to the bottom of it. Just let us have the information, please. Thank you. Anyway, okay. So I'm not getting into all the ins and outs of the unaliving right now. That is something I am working on investigating. But this is what I'm looking at here whenever I came across this information. So where are we? We're on page 9. If y'all want to read this yourself, y'all want to look this up yourself. This is page 9. And this is the whole reason I'm making this video today. The following is a synopsis regarding the unaliving of Biggie that occurred March 9th, 1997 in LA. At the time of his unaliving, he was the #1 rap artist for Bad Boy Records, based in New York. Then it says Tupac was shot and unalived in Vegas in September 1996, 6 months prior. So 6 months before Biggie was unalived, Tupac was unalive. That's what it's saying right here. Tupac at the time was the #1 rap artist for Death Row Records, which is based in Compton, California. Then it says Death Row, redacted, redacted, redacted. I'm sure that says is owned by Suge Knight. I don't know. I don't know why I think that, but that's what I think. And then it says Bad Boy, redacted, redacted. I'm sure that says owned by P. Diddy or something like that. I don't know. I mean, girl, I didn't read it. Obviously, I don't have any more access to the information than you, but that's what I think it says. Then it goes on and describes the rivalry. They spelled there wrong, girl, at the FBI. Please, for the love of God. There was an ongoing rivalry between East Coast rap versus West Coast rap that escalated as Tupac, West Coast, was unalived and that Biggie, East Coast, was unalived in retaliation. Neither unaliving has been solved. Now, this was written in 2002, over 20 years ago. We still in the same spot, girl. Okay, y'all ready for it? It's coming. Tupac and Biggie became friends as they both began rapping on the East Coast, with Biggie opening up gigs for Tupac. Tupac was signed by Bad Boy Records. Hello? This is the FBI file. Why'd they say something like that? Tupac was signed by Bad Boy Records? Redacted something? As Tupac got in trouble, including being shot and convicted for R-word, among other things, he ended up spending time in jail. Okay, so Tupac got in trouble, went to jail. He was signed to Bad Boy. He got in trouble, went to jail. That's what the FBI is saying. Biggie and Tupac were good friends. They were both signed to the same label, Diddy's label. Tupac was doing gigs and Biggie was opening the gigs for Tupac. Tupac got in trouble. He got he got convicted for R-word. This is according to the FBI file, girl. I don't know. Okay, I'm just telling you what it says right here. He ended up spending time in jail. During this time, Biggie's rap career began to flourish. Because of Tupac's bad reputation, someone redacted distanced himself from Tupac. Does that maybe say Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs under there that's redacted? And in stepped redacted Death Row Records? Well, I don't know what this says. I don't know what it says, but I can imagine it might say something like this. During the time Biggie's rap career began to flourish, because of Tupac's bad reputation, Diddy distanced himself from Tupac and in stepped Suge Knight of Death Row Records. Is that what it could say? Redacted, probably Suge Knight, flew out to New York, bailed Tupac out of jail, and signed him to Death Row, where he made millions. For Knight. I think that's what that probably says. I mean, it's redacted, but it looks like they're redacting out Suge Knight and Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs' names. I'm going to start from the beginning of this paragraph and read it as if that's what they're saying. Again, to be very, very clear, I do not know what is under these redacteds. I don't know, but I'm going to read it as if I'm just filling in these names and that's what's redacted. And you tell me if it makes sense. Tupac and Biggie became friends as they both began rapping on the East Coast, with Biggie opening up gigs for Tupac. Tupac was signed by Bad Boy Records with Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. As Tupac got in trouble, including being at and convicted for R-word, among other things, he ended up spending some time in jail. During this time, Biggie, from Bad Boy, Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs, his rap career began to flourish. Because of Tupac's bad reputation, Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs distanced himself from Tupac, and in stepped Suge Knight from Death Row Records. Suge Knight flew out to New York, bailed Tupac out of jail, and signed him to Death Row on the West Coast, where he made millions for Knight. Could make sense, right? At this time, Biggie was being named Rapper of the Year and making millions for Bad Boy East Coast.
1995 Billboard Music Awards. The Notorious B.I.G.
It's the #1 rap single for 1995.
#1 rap single. Now. And the #1 rap single of the year is One More Chance. The Notorious Big also win Billboard's Rap Artist of the Year, so give it up to the B.I.G.
Thanks to Arista Records, Bad Boy, Clive Davis, Billboard, my man Puff Daddy, Junior Mafia, my manager Mark Pitts, the whole Junior Mafia clique. One love.
Following is a short chronology of events that led to the unaliving of Tupac and the retaliation of Biggie, where allegedly LAPD officers were involved. This is a 22-year-old FBI file. Now, I know y'all are going to be saying, read the rest. And I might just do that. But today, this video is already a little longer than I wanted it to be. I got to record 2 other videos today. But yep, there's the proof right there. Proof For the theory, Tupac was actually signed to Bad Boy Records. Not he was considering it, not he was thinking about it, not he was gonna do it. The FBI files 22 years ago, Tupac was signed by Bad Boy Records. It's in a paragraph where they're talking about Biggie and Tupac. I mean, I don't think that they got it mixed up. I don't know. I will say FBI's been wrong about stuff before, girl. Consider the source. I really do not know. There's a lot of stuff redacted. There's a lot more stuff in these files. I'm literally talking about thousands of pages. Thousands of pages. That's all I really had for today. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, and neither is reading unsealed FBI files. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.
Welcome into my world. You're playing my game. Thought that you could come up and they're fitting off of my name. Talking out the side of your neck like you're insane. Cortisol levels to the roof. Inflame. Kids these days so shameless. Selling out real friends for a paycheck. Mama didn't teach them no home training. Wanna be me so bad, but they failing. Step to the plate though. I'll take a challenger. I ain't scared of no low life scavenger. I should warn you though, if you haven't heard, I ain't no Colleen ukulele ballanger. Shots been fired. Run and tell that. Say it to my face though. Now behind my back. Won't be long till you share it in the group chat. And when I call you up, you're gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth.